Welcome back, rankers. How's things? I'm a bit sore this week. Fell down a flight of stairs on the weekend on Mother's Day. I don't blame Mum. It wasn't her fault. She wasn't even there. So if I cringe suddenly during the filming of this, that's why. Just giving you a fair warning. This thing's on again. I told you about it a couple of weeks ago. And what I wanted to tell you about it now is that because we're going to be exhibiting up there this year, and I'm doing about 4 gigs at the conference, Book It Live have set up this fantastic little booking system where you can pick my brain for 15 minutes for free. No cost, nada, zilch. So thank you to Book It Live. And I emailed these guys, I emailed David at Book It Live and said, you know, we're wanting to do this thing at Pisa, and he had this set up within half an hour. It was great. So you just go in here and say, yeah, sure, Jim, I want to pick your brain for 15 minutes for free. And there's heaps of sessions left there. A few have already gone because you're the first people I've told about it, really. What I want to talk to you about today, though, was... Oh, hang on, just make sure you get that URL. I don't know what that's doing there. Let me see. That URL, might want to pause. Okay, and what I want to talk to you about today, though, was brand search. A lot of people are saying that Google's, giving favoritism to brands, and there's been a bit of conversation about how Google, ranks brands high, big brands high, and quite frankly, I'm seeing a little bit to that. It's hard to isolate whether it's actually the brand or something else that brand might be actually doing compared to others. Now, this search here has changed a lot over time, like most searches. Flowers. We had a client up there about 2009, 2010, I guess. We had them at number 1, and they were a client for about 3 years, took it all in-house, left us, and went and did some spammy stuff, really. And then they got hit in the first Google Penguin update. And so did these guys. Interflora, they were always in the top 10, 4s and 5s and that sort of thing. They got hit as well, and they disappeared, and I've done a show on that before. But they're back at number 1 now, at least in Melbourne. I haven't checked Sydney. And let me just check Sydney. Yeah, number 1 in Sydney as well. Which is really interesting because they're above the places entries, which were taking, let's see if they're in Mount Whately. Yeah, they are. They're number 1 everywhere, which shows a bit of a behemoth of ranking signals going on here. And so I had a bit of a closer look, and I'm thinking, why have they come back? The site really hasn't changed much. And the reason I know that is because we've got these site links here, and they're all fairly stable site links, right? And that's an indication of an old site that hasn't changed a lot, as opposed to some of these other ones down here. When I go and have a look at the site itself, they're doing a lot of content, but a lot of this stuff, and, it's Mother's Day, flowers. Oh, flowers. A lot of it's not even indexed. Google hasn't even found it yet, which is curious. But when I go and have a look at their backlinks with, say, Majestic SEO, and look, Interflora may not even know these exist, but someone's created these backlinks, okay? The first ones I see are from, really good ones, from Tour Down Under, which is a big bicycle race down here in Australia that's just finished in recent times. And they're getting a lot of links from that site. And Melbourne Flower Show, also another awesome link for a florist, for someone selling flowers. But then you think, well, that's a really awesome link. And then you go and have a look at that awesome link. And they're sponsors of this thing. And the link appears in the partners section here. Now, Google should either be ignoring this link, but I don't think it is, because Google would basically qualify this as a paid backlink, right? Because they're sponsoring it, and so it's not really a citation. It's I don't think it's a grey area. Like Google says, if you're going to have advertisers on your site, you need to clearly label that it's advertising. Well, I don't think that's done here. I don't think you could say our partners is necessarily, and I'm assuming there's the link there. So I'm assuming this is all paid. But then when you go and have a look a bit deeper at some of the other links, and I've done another blog post about this previously, and I was just curious to find that there's some others turning up. So I went and had a look at this one, which has got, say, Valentine's Day as the anchor text, and that's always a good signal for me that someone's had a red hot go there of getting a backlink with anchor text so they can rank for that key phrase. And I randomly went and had a look at this site here, and this looks like a news site and whatever. I've done a bit of research on this, and there's some cookie cutter sites around this one. Cookie cutter meaning that I've seen a few sites that look very, very similar. All this sort of stuff. We've got this article here, what makes a perfect relationship. You got a link here that goes off to Cosmopolitan about remember their birthday, your anniversary, romantic holidays. That goes off to Men Forget Women's Birthdays, Bra Size at Cosmopolitan. I've got no idea. Then you've got another link here that goes off to The Guardian. So you've got some, they're news articles essentially. But then you've got these two links down here. One goes to Valentine's Day Flowers on interflora.com.au. The other one goes to another post directly about red roses. And really the context isn't there. It doesn't make any sense as far as why would you just go and link to that Interflora page. Now, Interflora may not know that this is going on. Someone might be trying to do negative SEO on them, right? Then you go and have a look. Well, who's Veronica Narducci? That sounds like a real name, doesn't it? So we want to have a look and see who she is. So we're going to open up that image in a new tab. And we're going to get that URL right there. And then we're going to go to Google Image Search. And we'll just go to Google right now. We've grabbed that link. I'm going to get images. And I'm going to click that little button. I'm going to paste that URL that I just grabbed. I'm going to search for that image. And Google will go and look for similar versions of that image. And you can see here we've got pretty much identical. So this domain name, 9pearls.com, there's not a lot of information about who owns it and all the rest of it. But this person here, who looks very similar to this person here, claims to be Claudia. And she has a 4.5-year-old son, Charlie, who was born with Fragile X syndrome. So she's writing a blog about a disease or a syndrome that one of her 4-year-old kid has. And it looks like whoever's creating that Veronica, I'm more inclined to believe Claudia than I am Veronica, whoever Veronica is. It looks like one of them is using a stock image. This person seems a little bit more, I guess, legit. But it sort of says, well, that's a dodgy link. It's not a real person. Google shouldn't be giving it any juice. I think it might be though. And if you have a look at the other backlinks that Interflora's got, I mean, the biggest ones are probably, or the best ones I would say for Interflora, are probably the Melbourne Flower Show, which are recent ones. But even then, I'm guessing that's probably a sponsored link, maybe. Let's have a look. And if that's the case, then there's nothing there. So if that's the case, then once again, Google's a little bit broken sometimes, and we're seeing a lot of this. Which to me, when it gets like this, it means that Google at some point is about to do another. I mean, they're doing updates all the time. So we can see here that there's a link for Interflora. It's on the page there. So let me go back, get rid of that. And what that's saying to me is that, Google, although it's saying all these things, sometimes people get ahead of them. I mean, this is if someone was to do a backlinking campaign, this is a good way to not get caught early on. I mean, eventually you will, and eventually, you may get penalised for something like this. So if I was Interflora, I'd probably be disavowing these links. The reason it's clever is that it doesn't have the link up the top. It has a couple of outbound links to legitimate other sites. The language isn't great. We're talking about what makes a perfect relationship. Tacos, burritos, and pizza can be a fun dinner project the whole family can get involved in. But we've got 2 links down here that are our main hero links, if you like. But if I go and have a look here, and we can just see that Interflora is part of a news story. So this is possibly a there's no see, we've got sponsors down here again. I'm guessing this is where the link is. Now this would have been a better link. They got named Florist of the Year. Oh, sorry, the Australian Interflora Florist of the Year. So there is a paid link because they're sponsoring that Florist of the Year. So it would seem that Interflora is ranking these days #1 for flowers from backlinks that aren't real or are not real citations. So when you start to see that come up, and we've seen a couple of other situations with it, and we're working on one at the moment, we're working on an exploit to prove that it's a certain point. And when we get that ranked #1, I'll show it to you. Where we're going out and we're actually buying some backlinks. It's not to any of our client sites. It's not to our main site either. It's to another site. But that would indicate to me that Google has to do like another Penguin update very soon. So watch this space. And that's it for this week's show. Hopefully that's helpful. Got through without any major cringes. So we'll see you next week. Thanks very much. Bye.